Hey guys, Max Rich here, and today I want to do a quick short little lesson about left hand position. And I get asked a lot when people are playing, and a lot of my students, they say, like, you know, when I play like a 4-fret position, my pinky ends up going backwards towards the headstock. They do something like this, and like if you look at my pinky, it's like going that way, and then they can't really reach. They have like a hard time reaching and stuff like this. And a lot of the times they want to ask, how can I get, you know, like how can I get a big reach like that, or how can I do some left-hand technique that's being prevented by the fact that my pinky goes backwards towards the headstock, right? And this is what I always tell them, is that you should play in a way that allows your fingers to go at an angle like somewhat relative towards the body of the guitar, right? A lot of players are taught from the beginning that they need to play with vertical fingers, right? So their fingers are like parallel to the fret wire, something like this, right? And that's a very classical position. There's nothing necessarily quote-unquote wrong with that if you can get away with it, but for the vast majority of players, this is just an untenable position. And it's unreasonable for a couple things, right? One, when you play in this position, right, if you're trying to play on your fingertips, you have to play very, very arched, right? And you have to like curve your fingers so dramatically that, look, even if I do it, my pinky is once again facing backwards towards the headstock. And there is no way for me to be on my fingertips with vertical fingers parallel to the fret wire and not have my pinky do that, right? Even with my thumb in the middle of my hand, which is sort of like a prerequisite, you want your thumb in the middle of your hand. You don't want it back here or back here or something. You want it in the middle. I can't get my pinky to go the other way, and that's what a lot of players have a problem with, right? The best way to avoid this is, you know, if I'm playing over frets 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So I put my thumb in the middle, which would be like almost on the dot of the 7th fret, let's say, something like that. And then what I do is I put my thumb up there, and I take my index finger, and I just kind of like slam the bottom, like the palm of my index finger, you know, the joint, the big knuckle of my joint, right up against the bottom of the neck, right? You can kind of see it if I do this, right? You see? So I just kind of like slam my finger up there, and then I put my thumb down, right? Now, automatically, if you look at my hand, automatically my hand is at an angle, right? It's at sort of like this type of an angle coming off the bottom of the guitar. It's not parallel like this, it's at an angle, right? And now when I close my index finger, look at the angle of my index finger. And if I stagger each, well, get back on 5, 6, 7, and 8. If I stagger each finger on 5, 6, 7, and 8 using this method, my fingers line up at an angle instead of being like this. Right? So there's two advantages to this. One, I can reach better, right? And I can like stretch a bit farther, right, using this idea. But another thing is that I have a third point of contact on the neck to help stabilize me that I don't have if I'm playing like this. If I'm playing like this, right? If I'm playing like this, I have my thumb back here, my fingers, and then I have a gap here, right? Like there's nothing touching. The only things that's touching are my thumb and my fingers, right? But when I play with this method, where I'm putting my finger up against the bottom, right? I have that point of contact plus my thumb plus my fingers. So I have a third point of stability, which means when I go to shift, if I'm going from here to say like the 9th fret, I'll like over dramatize this. I'll like kind of like make it really extreme. But I let go, and I can even let go with my thumb, and I can use this third point of contact, this index finger knuckle, and I can slide along the neck and find my new position. Right? So it in some way acts as like a handrail that keeps me in place. Versus this, if I wanted to shift positions, I have to completely let go of the neck, get to my new position, and then find it and hope that when I land, I'm landing in the exact same shape that I left, right? And that's probably not going to happen, right? And then even if you do, you still end up with this stupid pinky going the other way, right? So that's why I say avoid this at all costs, unless you absolutely have to do this for some strange reason. I would say get your thumb up higher, get this knuckle up against the bottom, and be able to play with your fingers at an angle. So if you're playing, you know, whatever you're doing, right? That kind of a thing. If you watch whoever you like, you know, if it's an electric guitar player, or if it's an acoustic guitar player, Tommy Emmanuel, or whoever it is, you know, like Slash, or Santana, or Jimi Hendrix, or whatever, Jimmy Page, whatever great guitar player that you like, watch their left hand. I virtually guarantee you, unless it's a classical guitarist's hand, they're probably playing like this. If it's Joe Pass, or if it's whoever, you know, Kenny Burrell, they're playing like this. Stevie Ray Vaughan, they're not playing like this. The reason they're not, it's just unstable. So get your fingers at an angle and make sure that you can pretty much always try to keep them at this shape. You know, if I'm playing a chord, they're on this shape. If I'm playing a lick, they're at this angle, right? The only time they're vertical up and down is maybe if I'm doing like a bar chord or something, right? Then like my fingers are more parallel. They're not like this. That is just about the only time that you'll find me playing with straight up and down fingers. It's just a better position if you can get your fingers at this angle. So I know a lot of you will be like, we'll go to try it and it may or may not work, and you may have to like really retool your playing, and you have a lot of questions. That's fine. Send me a DM, send me an email, max@maxrichmusic.com. Check out my website, maxrichmusic.com, because there's a bunch of tips that are kind of like along these lines that will help, you know, guide you through. There's some videos and stuff and some articles, some newsletters that I write that help out with this sort of a thing. But nonetheless, if you have questions, please send them in. I answer all my emails. I answer everyone. So I may not get to you right away within 5 minutes, but I will guarantee get to you. And if you feel like sending me a video of you playing, or a picture of you and say like, why isn't this working? I'll be more than happy to walk you through it. So, but whatever you do, keep away from this vertical position. Get that third point of contact here. Keep your hand, you know, your knuckles sort of at like a 45-degree angle off the bottom of the neck. Wrap your thumb over the top, and then get your fingers up, and you'll be able to stretch a lot farther.